The Boys is officially over with its fifth and final season, but did they stick the landing? Here are my thoughts on it. Hello everybody, my name is Jesse and welcome to my channel. And The Boys Season 5 has been out for a couple of weeks now. I know I'm a little bit late to the party, but today I'm finally going to be giving you my full thoughts on this final season. I am going to be diving a little bit into spoiler territory, not too much. This isn't going to be like a full-on spoiler review, but there are going to be a few little things throughout that I do dive into spoilers. So if you haven't seen the season yet, that's your warning. And ultimately, it pains me to say this, but this was ultimately an okay but a disappointing season for me. I thought this was very much an upgrade over season 4. It was better than that. It felt far more focused, having the final end in sight, knowing where we need to end things. All of that really helped, I thought, but there were still a lot of things that I felt really held this season back. It felt fairly repetitive in parts, and there were things that just didn't hit as hard as they could have. So I have a lot of specifics that I want to dive into. Before I get into the more negative aspects of this review, I do want to focus on some of the good first. Like I said, this was a far more focused season than season 4 was. Season 4 really just felt like they were kind of running in place. Overall, just like doing as much, as little as they could to still advance the plot while also saving all of the big moments for this season. And season 4 was just really, it felt like they were really just trying to outdo themselves with like the gore and all of that stuff that we had seen in previous seasons, rather than actually do something with the story. This season felt far more focused than that. They knew where they wanted to end. They had the goal in mind. And so because of that, all of our characters have a very clear objective this season. They know where they want to end up. They know what they need to do to get there. And we're just watching them follow the steps to complete that goal. All of our characters continue to be great. I still loved every character in this season. Homelander, his ego and insecurity is at an all-time high in this season. You can see that right from the very first episode. And that insecurity is ultimately what drives all of his motivation. His constant need for validation is what brings him to like his ultimate goal and motivation in this season, with wanting to like start his own church, make people look at him as a god, get the V1. All of that is just driven by this massive insecurity and need for validation. And you see that especially in the finale, in his final moments, when he's pleading and begging Butcher, that you just you see that desperation. And especially in that his final moments, it's very, very satisfying to see that. Alongside him, the big standout character for me this season was Jensen Ackles as Soldier Boy. He continues to be phenomenal, and he's possibly the best that he's ever been in this season. Every single episode, he had at least 1 or 2 lines that had me laughing out loud. His line delivery and performance is just absolutely perfect. And the back and forth dynamic that he had with Homelander this entire season, and he kind of switches between sides a couple times. You never really know what he's going to do next. I really liked all of that. And at the end of the day, I thought they stuck the landing fairly well with this season. I thought it was a decent finale. All of the endings for our characters felt like the logical ending for where they should end up. I think the ultimate ending was satisfying enough. I wish that we would have spent a little bit more time with them. Like I wish either that this season was like maybe one episode longer, or they could have just stretched this episode out a little bit longer. I wish we could have spent a little bit more time developing some of the arcs, most notably Butcher's. I felt like his final arc in the finale was a little bit rushed through, but ultimately every character ended up with a satisfying enough conclusion, and I'm not necessarily mad at anything in the finale. And now getting into some of my more mixed / negative aspects on this season, some of the things that they did just felt kind of frustrating. Like, I am going to start diving into a lot more spoilers. I know I've been touching on them the entire video, but in the episode 6, the entire season, Homelander is after V1, which is like the original formula for the V. It's the kind that Soldier Boy has. It makes it so he doesn't age, and he's essentially immortal. We find out in episode 2 of this season that it makes him immune to this soup-killing virus that they've been working on for 3 seasons. So Homelander's whole goal in this season is to get the V1 so that he's immortal, so the virus cannot kill him. In episode 6, he gets the virus, and this does 2 things that really kind of frustrated me about the final 2 episodes. One, we never really feel the stakes of that. When you have something that makes the big bad of your series literally immortal, I feel like you should do something with that, and they just didn't make that feel as big as they possibly could have. It should have felt like, oh no, Homelander has this thing that literally makes him immortal, and now we cannot kill him. But instead, it felt like Homelander was just completely normal the last 2 episodes. It didn't seem like it changed him at all. And so I wish they would have just done a little bit more like that to make the stakes of that feel much larger. And at the same time, I sort of get why they did it, but at the same time, it came out of nowhere. Is the boys, our group of main characters, completely changes their plan on how to take down Homelander, whereas instead of the virus, they just forget the virus, and they plan on giving Kimiko Soldier Boy's powers, essentially, because he has the ability to use this like blast to remove a soup's powers. So they want to do that to Homelander. They were ultimately successful in doing so, but the fact that they decided to do that in the second to last episode just felt kind of out of nowhere, and I wish they would have set that up a little bit earlier in the season. And the fact that they just kind of do away with the virus until the last 10 or so minutes in the finale with Butcher, when they've been setting up for 3 seasons, it just it felt frustrating that they didn't explore it as much as they should have. It would have been like they touched on the moral dilemma of using this virus throughout the entire season, but it would have been much more satisfying and much more interesting to see how it would have actually played out, rather than just kind of doing away with it in the last 2 episodes. And a couple more things here that are more just like nitpicks, things that bothered me personally and that I would have liked to see. But I felt like Homelander became way too predictable in this season, and maybe it's because I'm just so used to seeing him as the villain. After watching this show over 5 seasons, I've just come to understand him as a character and know what he's going to do. But in the first couple seasons of The Boys, the thing that made Homelander such an amazing villain, so despicable, is the fact that he was truly unpredictable. You did not know when he was being nice and when he was threatening and when he was going to literally kill someone. And in this season, it just felt way too predictable. Like anytime he was going to do something, I could point at the screen and say, yeah, that person's about to die. He's gonna kill him. I don't really know how, but he's going. Like, I just felt like he became a little bit too predictable of a character in this season, and that took away kind of what I loved about him in the first place. And another thing that just kind of disappointed me overall about this season is it didn't feel as big in scale. It didn't feel as grand as it should have for a final season of this show. And like the showrunner, all of the actors were coming out before it was, they were coming out and saying it's the biggest season thus far. It's going to be super intense. And it just didn't feel as big as I think it should have. Maybe I just had my expectations too high, but especially with the final battle in the finale, the final confrontation between Butcher and Homelander is satisfying enough. I enjoy ultimately how it ended and what they did with it, but I would have liked if it was a little bit larger in scale, and if they like brought it maybe outside of the Oval Office rather than just having it in one location. Like if they had done something more similar to the Herogasm showdown in season 3, I think that would have been phenomenal to see. Again, more of a personal thing, something that I just really wanted to see, but it is something that I wanted to mention. But like I said in the beginning, this was still an okay season. They stuck the landing well enough, and I will always love this show. This last season didn't really do anything to tarnish my feelings on this show or the overall legacy of the show itself. That's about all I have for this review. What did you think of The Boys Season 5? Let me know down in the comments below. I will have a ranking of The Boys seasons with Gen V coming hopefully later this week. So stay tuned for that. And until my next video like this one, subscribe to my channel. I talk about movies and TV all the time here. So if you're new, subscribe so you never miss out on new content, and keep watching movies and TV.